There is an explosion of interest around the concept of the metaverse, and it is worth describing its various features, the parameters that can define how different people may interpret the metaverse for their own purposes. Today I will talk about the hardware and the software that can support it, the new business models that can be really disrupting even towards the existing leaders of technology. And finally, how one of our favorite concepts, artificial intelligence, has an important role to play. My name is David Orban, and this is The Context. We have many different words that from time to time we employ in order to describe our concepts of a digital reality. It can be the matrix, it can be virtual reality and augmented reality, it can be the metaverse, and many others too. For the past several months, there has been an increasing level of interest around this set of concepts, and in particular using the name metaverse. I am talking about digital realities because for me, describing, implementing and leveraging what we can do in the digital world is not inferior, it is not less real than what we can do in the physical world. We have had millions and billions of years to adapt and to understand, to perceive and to act on the physical world through our bodies and our senses. So it is not surprising that the equivalent abilities for the digital realities will need some time to develop as well. We have only had a few decades to develop them, and we have to be a little bit patient, even if we are very excited and eager to start exploring right away. Today we have advanced visors, for example the Oculus, that we can use in order to perceive a digital reality in 3 dimensions. And there are versions of these visors that are able to mix digital and physical, appropriately enhancing our description and our perception of the physical world through these digital overlays in augmented reality. Whether virtual reality, which I don't like, but there you go, or augmented reality headsets, these are all today very heavy. And this single factor makes it so that only very enthusiastic users want to wear them, and even they only can do so for, let's say, 1 or 2 hours per day and not more. This also means that for the time being, the vast majority of our activities are not going to be mediated by these immersive visors. It is up to the software layer to deliver the benefits of the metaverse independently of the type of interface that we are using. For the past 10 years and more, a lot of people have been very active in Second Life, for example, which is a 3-dimensional digital world where the users have very powerful tools to create within the world and also trade and transfer their creations. But they have been doing so without the immersive 3D visors. They have been using traditional monitors and the mice. Their experience wasn't inferior. The passion and the value that they were creating was worth it. Now, whether we are using visors or monitors or maybe our mobile phones, it is fundamentally important to understand what is the reason we are there. For video games, it is unquestionably exciting and extremely empowering to be able to be immersed as we shoot and kill aliens or zombies or play ping pong maybe with someone who is thousands of miles away, and other fun activities that we can now do in the metaverse. For business activities, it will be crucially important not to pretend that the objective is just to have a better Zoom call. Meetings? No, that is not going to be the killer app of the metaverse in a business environment. Now, the solution is hard. We know, for example, that $4 billion are not enough. That is the amount of money that Magic Leap raised originally to develop a consumer level visor, and then they changed their track, they pivoted, and now they are going to build vertical applications for surgery, for training, and other corporate-oriented applications. And it is questionable whether they will ever be able to recoup the investment with the necessary multiple that it is expected from them. Is it going to be $10 billion or 20? We don't know yet. But the hardware is expected to become, over the years, ever more evolved, integrated in smart glasses, and maybe in many years later, for those of us who are adventurous enough, in the brain implants that are going to be able to stimulate directly our visual cortex in order to make us see the digital reality. Whatever is the application, a new business model now is available, and it is based on NFTs. Regardless of the clunkiness of the acronym, non-fungible tokens, NFTs are here to stay. They implement a unique traceability for digital objects. Imagine if in the physical world, whatever I put somewhere couldn't be found next day. Well, that happens with our socks, right? But actually, every object in the physical world is always perfectly traced, is never lost. Well, in the digital reality, we now have the same ability, actually even superior, because in the physical world, we do not have access to the history, to the provenance, to the origin of all the objects. And now in the digital reality, we have that. And all the properties, all the evolution, the ability to be transferred, copied or not copied, of these objects can now be embodied in their characteristics as NFTs. And of course, NFTs themselves are based on blockchain, globally distributed and decentralized networks that are becoming ever more powerful and ever more important and impossible to ignore. The new business model is important because it allows companies to completely sidestep and overcome, potentially disrupt, what has made companies like Google and Facebook into the powerhouses they are today. Their business models are based on selling advertising. Much better than it could be done ever on paper, but still something very mundane. And the ability to do without the advertising business model is going to be a crucial component of how the metaverse, thanks to NFTs, will evolve in the future. The last point I want to make is regarding the usefulness of representing digital realities that are different from the physical world but have connections with it. In Internet of Things applications, or Industry 4.0 as it is called in Europe, we have concepts of digital twins, representations of machinery or industrial plants, all kinds of complex physical objects that acquire a new flexible way of being looked at when they are represented digitally. This is much more than just looking at a computer-aided design file with a sophisticated visualization, because we can start asking questions. What would happen if I made this kind of change or that kind of change around this model? And as we learn which changes are beneficial and which changes instead would be harmful for our objectives, we then can decide how to implement in the physical world what we learn about these sophisticated models. AI platforms enable a tremendous acceleration of this type of learning. NVIDIA has platforms that you can already start understanding, analyzing, and adopting so that these simulations can benefit your business goals. And companies like Tesla and SpaceX are already employing them in order to accelerate the evolution of their electric cars, where the parts can be changed and adapted as the models evolve, rather than once or twice a year, as it happens with traditional car makers, every day with new components being integrated in the production process. Or Starship, where you can see actually the company tearing down a half-built spaceship because they learned in the meantime from simulations that a given approach is better than what they have been partially executing on. And of course they are courageous enough to adapt it, even if it means that they have to retrace some of their steps. This agile approach to hardware is going to be an important differentiating factor for future initiatives, business models, all empowered by a deep understanding of the implications of the metaverse.